I was halfway through a frozen pizza when Monica Fowles knocked on my door. That alone was enough to make me pause, because Monica did not come over to my place. She lived across the street in the brick house with the white porch swing, the one she kept neat even in winter. I knew her mostly by small things. Her porch light came on every evening at 6. Her trash bins were always pulled back before I left for work. Sometimes she waved from her driveway in the morning, coffee cup in one hand, keys in the other. But that Friday night, she was standing on my front step in a long coat over pajama pants, her hair pulled back loose, face tight with stress. "Caleb, I am so sorry," she said before I even got the door all the way open. "I know it's late." "It's fine," I said. "What's going on?" "My washer is doing something bad. Water is all over the floor, and I can't get it to stop right. I tried the knobs, I unplugged it, I watched some guy on a video, and I think I made it worse." She tried to laugh, but it came out thin. I looked past her toward her house. Her porch light was on, and I could see the front door standing open like she had run out in a hurry. "Did you shut off the valves behind it?" I asked. She blinked at me. "I tried. One wouldn't move, and the other one, I don't know. I didn't want to break it." I stepped back and grabbed my boots from beside the door. "Give me 1 second. You don't have to come over. I just didn't know who else to ask, and weekend emergency service is ridiculous. I can pay you, I just—" "Monica," I said, pulling on my jacket. "Let's stop the water first." That got her quiet. I grabbed my tool bag from the hall, checked that I had a flashlight, and followed her across the street. The air had that sharp Tennessee cold where it feels like it is going straight into your teeth. She walked fast, arms folded tight across her coat, and kept glancing back like she was worried I might change my mind. Inside her house, it smelled like laundry soap and wet towels. The hallway light was bright, and there were clothes baskets pushed against the wall, towels spread everywhere, and one soaked rug folded over itself like it had given up. The laundry room was worse. Water had run out from under the washer and was creeping toward the hall. Not deep, but enough to be a problem. The machine sat crooked, halfway through a cycle, with the lid up and a pile of wet towels shoved beside it. Monica stepped in behind me in socks that were already wet. "Don't stand in that," I said. She looked down like she had just noticed. "Right. Sorry. You don't have to apologize to me for your floor being wet." She opened her mouth, then closed it. I reached behind the washer and found the valves. The cold side was stiff, but it moved. The hot side took more effort. I got both shut, then unplugged the machine and pulled it away from the wall a few inches. Monica stood close, holding a towel in both hands like she needed a job or she would fall apart. "Is it ruined?" she asked. "Probably not." "Probably." I don't lie to customers. That made her look at me. "Am I a customer?" "Neighbor, technically." She breathed out through her nose, almost smiling, but not quite. I got down on one knee and checked behind the washer. The drain hose was sitting wrong, and one clamp was loose enough that I could move it with my fingers. When I pulled the line free, water ran into the shallow pan under the machine and then onto one of the towels. "There's your main issue," I said. "Clamps loose. Drain line looks clogged too." "I knew I should have called somebody last month," she said. "Was it shaking?" She stared at me. "How did you know?" "The legs are uneven. See how it's sitting? If it's been jumping around during spin, that hose has probably been working itself loose for weeks." She leaned against the doorframe and rubbed her forehead. "I thought it was just old." "It is old. But old doesn't mean done." For some reason, that made her quiet again. I worked while she handed me towels and moved baskets out of my way. She kept trying to help without getting in the way, which I understood. Some people hovered because they wanted control. Monica hovered because this was her house, and she hated standing there feeling useless in it. I cleared the line in the utility sink, tightened the clamp, reset the hose, and leveled the machine. It was not a huge job, but it was the kind of little problem that could turn expensive if it sat all night. The flooring near the doorway already had water under the edge. I told her to keep towels pressed there and run a fan if she had one. I have one in the garage, she said, already turning. I'll get it. No, I can. I know, I said. But I've got boots on. She stopped fighting me after that. When the washer was back in place, I ran a short drain cycle and watched it like I would on any service call. No leak. No fresh water under it. The machine hummed, shook once, then settled better than it probably had in months. Monica stood beside me with her arms folded, her coat still on, pajama cuffs damp at the bottom. That's it? She asked. For tonight, yeah. Don't overload it. Towels on one side will make it dance. And these valves are stiff, so don't force them unless you have to. I can replace them another day. She nodded, but she was not really looking at the washer. She was looking at the floor, the towels, the mess, like she was embarrassed I had seen all of it. I really am sorry, she said. I know this is not exactly how anybody wants to spend a Friday night. I looked at my watch. I was eating a frozen pizza that tasted like cardboard. This is about the same. That time she did smile. It changed her whole face, just for a second. I had seen Monica dressed for work, moving quick with a tote bag over her shoulder, looking put together in that way adults always seem to manage. I had not seen her like this. Tired. Cold. Still trying to be polite while her house was half covered in towels. How much do I owe you? She asked. Don't worry about it. No, Caleb. I'm serious. You came over in the cold, with tools, on a Friday night. You live across the street. That doesn't make it nothing. I shrugged because I did not know what else to do with the way she was looking at me. It wasn't a big repair. It was big to me. The room got quiet except for the washer finishing its cycle. Then she said, softer, you came over that fast? I wiped my hands on a rag from my bag. You needed help. She held my eyes for a second longer than normal. Not in some big dramatic way. Just long enough that I noticed. Then she looked away first. At least let me give you coffee sometime, she said. Or dinner. I make too much food when Tessa isn't here. Tessa? My daughter. She's in Murfreesboro now. Comes home some weekends. Monica gave a small, tired shake of her head. Anyway. You don't have to say yes right now. You don't have to do that. I know, she said. And the way she said it made it different from an offer made out of guilt. I packed my tools, showed her one more time where the valves were, and carried the wettest towels to the laundry sink because she looked like she might try to do it herself just to prove she could. At the door, she thanked me again, quieter this time, without the panic in her voice. When I crossed back to my house, my pizza was cold on the plate, the TV still talking to itself in the living room. Everything looked exactly like I had left it. But it did not feel the same. I sat down on the couch and picked up the slice, then put it back. Across the street, Monica's porch light was still on. I could see her moving behind the front window, probably laying out towels, probably trying to put the house back the way it was before anyone noticed it had gone wrong. I should have been thinking about the washer. Loose clamp, clogged line, uneven legs. Simple. Instead, I kept hearing her voice in that laundry room. You came over that fast? And for the first time since I had moved on to that quiet cul-de-sac, the house across the street did not feel like just another house anymore. The next time Monica texted me, I was under a refrigerator in a duplex off Nolensville Pike, trying to get a compressor fan to stop rattling. Her message came in while I had my arm twisted behind the back panel. This is Monica across the street. Sorry to bother you. My dryer is making a grinding sound now. Not urgent. Just wanted to ask if that is bad. I stared at the screen for a second longer than I needed to. Then I typed, grinding is usually not great. I can look when I get home. She answered almost right away. Only if you have time. Really? I almost wrote, I have time. Instead I wrote, around 6. I told myself it was normal. She was my neighbor. I fixed appliances for a living. A dryer making noise was the kind of thing people asked me about all the time. But at 6, I was in my driveway before I had even taken my work boots off, looking across the street at her house like I had an appointment I did not want to be late for. She opened the door before I knocked. Sorry, she said, stepping back. I heard your truck. That dryer better be screaming if you were waiting by the door. I was not waiting by the door. She said it too fast, then shook her head at herself. The dryer was making a low scraping sound, not terrible yet, but enough that I knew it would get worse. I pulled it away from the wall and found a worn roller and enough lint behind it to knit a sweater. Monica stood in the laundry room doorway with a mug in her hand, watching like she had the first night, but not as panicked this time. You want coffee? She asked. At 6 at night? It's decaf. That's not coffee. That's warm brown water. She laughed, and I looked down at the dryer because I did not want to get caught enjoying it too much. After I cleaned it out and told her what part she needed, she asked what she owed me. I told her she could order the part and I would put it in. She gave me a look like she was starting to understand that arguing with me about money was going to be a regular thing. 2 days later, it was a cabinet hinge. The week after that, her back gate stuck so bad she had to kick it open with her heel while holding grocery bags. I saw her doing it from my driveway and walked over before she even asked. Caleb, I can handle a gate. I believe you. Then why are you carrying a screwdriver? Because I don't trust the gate. She tried to hide a smile and failed. That was how it started going. Nothing big. Nothing that would make anybody stop and stare. A dryer roller. A loose hinge. A gate latch. A ceiling fan that wobbled so badly above her living room that I told her it looked like it was trying to leave the house. Each time, I told myself I was just helping. Each time, I stayed longer. Monica had a way of making a house feel awake without making it loud. There was usually a lamp on in the kitchen, some mail stacked by the fruit bowl, a school calendar stuck to the fridge with magnets, and a pair of reading glasses she kept losing and finding in places that made no sense. She worked as the office manager at an elementary school, and she always had stories from the front desk. Parents calling about missing jackets. Kids coming in with stomachaches that were really just nerves. Teachers needing copies, forms, keys, bandages, passwords. I spend all day being the person who knows where everything is, she said one night while I fixed the cabinet door under her sink. Then I come home, and my own house acts like it has a personal problem with me. I was on my back with my shoulder against the cabinet frame. Your house is old. Old houses complain. So do old women. You're not old. The kitchen went quiet. I had said it without thinking. Just a fact, the same way I would say a belt was loose or a drain was clogged. Monica was standing near the counter with a dish towel in her hands. She looked at me, then looked away. I'm 42, Caleb. I know. You're 24. I know that too. She folded the towel once, then again. Just checking. I tightened the hinge screw and pretended the back of my neck was not getting hot. Hinge is stripped. I'll put a better screw in. Good, she said. Let's talk about screws instead. I could tell she was scared of our 18-year age gap. Is age really a deal breaker in a relationship, or is it just a number? Write your thoughts in the comments. I laughed, and she did too, but there was something under it now. Something we both noticed and both stepped around. That night she made me eat. I was packing up when she opened the fridge and started pulling out containers. You eaten dinner? She asked. I had a pack of crackers at 4. That is not dinner. It had peanut butter. Sit down. I'm good. Caleb. She said my name like she used it at school on kids who were about to track mud through the office. So I sat at her kitchen counter while she heated leftover chicken, cornbread, and green beans. She put the plate in front of me like she had done it 100 times, then leaned on the other side of the counter with her own mug of tea. I ate too fast at first, then slowed down when I noticed her watching. What? I asked. Nothing. I just don't think anybody feeds you enough. People call me when their fridge quits. Feeding me is not usually part of the deal. Maybe it should be. I looked down at the plate because that felt easier. After that, dinner became part of it sometimes. Not planned. Not named. Just food on a plate because she had made too much, or coffee because it was cold out, or 10 minutes at the counter that turned into 40. She told me about her divorce in pieces, not all at once. Rick had not been some cartoon bad guy, she said. That would have been easier. He was charming when people were around and sharp when they were not. He had a way of making every problem sound like proof she was difficult. After he left, everybody praised her for being strong. I got so tired of that word, she said one night. Strong. Like it was a reward for never needing anything. I nodded because I understood more than I wanted to say. She noticed anyway. What? I turned my empty mug in my hands. People call me reliable. Same kind of thing, I guess. How? It means they trust me to show up with tools. Doesn't mean they ask how I'm doing. Monica did not answer right away. She just looked at me, not with pity. That would have made me shut down. She looked like she was actually taking in what I said. Then she said, "How are you doing?" I wanted to give a joke answer. Something quick. Instead I shrugged. Most days I'm fine. She nodded slowly. That sounds familiar. The first time I met Tessa for more than a driveway wave, I was fixing the back gate again because the frame had shifted after rain. A small gray car pulled in behind Monica's, and a young woman stepped out with a duffel bag and the same direct eyes as her mother. She looked at me, then at the screwdriver in my hand. You must be Caleb. That depends who's asking. She smiled a little. Tessa. I wiped my hand on my jeans before shaking hers. Your mom said you were coming in. Did she? Tessa glanced toward the house. She also said the gate was fine. The gate lied. That got a real smile from her, but she still studied me longer than most people would. Not rude. Just sharp. Monica came out onto the porch behind her. Hey, honey. Tessa hugged her, then looked back at me over Monica's shoulder. So this is the repair guy. Monica's face changed just a little. He lives across the street. Convenient. I bent back over the latch like I had not heard that tone, but I had. After that, I saw Tessa watching from the kitchen window while I finished. When I went to leave, Monica walked me to the driveway. Sorry, she said quietly. She's protective. She should be. Monica looked at me like that was not the answer she expected. The ceiling fan happened the next Thursday. By then, I knew where Monica kept the step stool, the flashlight, the extra trash bags, and the coffee filters. That bothered me a little when I thought about it. A man should notice when he is getting used to another person's house. The fan had one loose bracket and two blades out of balance. It took 20 minutes to fix and another hour before I left. We ate at the counter again. She had made soup, and outside the kitchen window, the street was dark and quiet. No cars moving. No kids shouting. Just the low hum of her refrigerator and the spoon against her bowl. She looked tired that night. Not the kind of tired sleep fixes. The kind that sits in your shoulders. Why do you keep coming over? She asked suddenly. I looked up. Because your stuff keeps breaking. Caleb. I set my spoon down. She was not smiling now. You could tell me to call a company, she said. You could say you're busy. You could fix the thing and leave in 10 minutes. I don't mind. That's not an answer. It was, but not the whole one. I looked toward the living room, at the fan turning smooth and quiet now. I could have told her then. I almost did. I could feel the words right there, simple and dangerous. Because I like being here. Because you look at me like I'm more than the guy with the tool bag. Because when I leave, my house feels colder than it did before. Instead I picked up my spoon again and said, maybe I'm bad at leaving. Monica stared at me for a second, then gave a small nod, like she heard the part one had not said. Maybe I am too, she said. The next evening, I was carrying my tool bag back across her driveway when a black pickup slowed at the curb. I knew who it was before Monica even stiffened on the porch. Rick Fowles rolled down his window and looked from me to her, then back to me. He smiled like he had found something useful. Well, he said. Looks like you've got yourself regular help now. Monica did not answer. I kept walking, but I could feel his eyes on my back all the way across the street. And I knew, right then, that whatever had been building in those quiet kitchens and small repairs was not going to stay quiet much longer. Rick came by the next afternoon like he still had a right to walk up Monica's driveway without making sure she wanted him there. I was in my own yard when I saw his black pickup pull in. I had just gotten home from a call in Hendersonville and was taking a busted drain pump out of the bed of my truck. I heard the engine first, then saw Monica come out onto her porch with a sweater pulled around her. She did not look surprised. That told me she knew he was coming. It also told me she had been dreading it. Rick stepped out carrying a manila folder. He was a good-looking guy in the way some older men are when they know it and make sure everybody else knows it too. Clean jacket, clean boots, easy smile. He looked around her yard before he looked at her, like he was inspecting the place. I should have gone inside. Instead, I kept pretending to sort tools in my driveway. Monica met him halfway down the walk. You can just leave it with me. Nice to see you too, Rick said. I've had a long day. School office still running you ragged? It's paperwork, Rick. He held up the folder. Insurance forms. Some tax stuff. Things you said you needed. Thank you. She reached for it, but he did not let go right away. His eyes shifted past her, across the street, and landed on me. I looked down too late. Rick smiled. So that's him? Monica's shoulders tightened. Don't start. I'm not starting anything. You are. I just asked a question. He leaned a little to the side, like he wanted a better view of me. That the new young handyman? I froze with a wrench in my hand. Monica said something low I could not hear, but Rick laughed. Come on, Ness. Whole Street can see his truck over here every other night. It isn't your business. No, I guess not. His voice stayed light, but there was a mean edge under it. Just seems a little embarrassing, that's all. You running around needing some 20-something boy to fix every loose screw in the house. I put the wrench down before I did something stupid with it. Monica took the folder from him. You can leave now. Rick lifted both hands like he was the calm one. I'm just saying, people notice. Tessa notice yet? That one landed. I saw it from across the street. Monica's face did not fall apart, but it changed. Like he had pressed on a bruise he already knew was there. I crossed the street before I had a plan. Rick saw me coming and seemed pleased with himself, like this was exactly what he wanted. You need something? He asked. No, I said. Then why are you walking over? Because you're talking loud enough for the block. Monica looked at me fast. Caleb. Her voice was a warning, not because I had done anything wrong, but because she knew Rick better than I did. Rick smiled wider. Relax, kid. Adults are talking. I stopped at the edge of the driveway. Then talk like one. For 1 second, the smile slipped. Monica stepped between us, not close, just enough. Rick, go. He looked at her, then at me again. Sure. I've got things to do anyway. He walked back to his truck slow, like leaving had been his choice. Before he got in, he said, "Good luck, Ness." Really? Just don't make yourself look foolish. Then he drove away. Nobody moved until his taillights turned the corner. Monica stood there with the folder pressed against her chest. Her porch light had come on even though it was not dark yet. I noticed little things like that when I did not know what to say. "You shouldn't have come over," she said. "Probably. You heard him?" "Enough." She nodded once, then turned and went inside. I stood in the driveway for a second, not sure if that was her telling me to leave. Then I saw through the front window that she had stopped in the kitchen and set the folder on the counter like it weighed more than paper. So I followed. The kitchen was quiet. No coffee. No food warming. No little normal sound to cover anything up. Monica stood with both hands on the counter, head lowered. "He does that," she said. I stayed near the doorway. "What?" "Finds the exact thing." She laughed once, but there was nothing funny in it. "He can walk in here for 5 minutes and still find the exact thing that makes me feel ridiculous." "You're not ridiculous. You don't know that." "I know enough." She looked up then, and her eyes were wet, but she was not crying hard. It was worse than that. She looked angry at herself for even reacting. "I hate that he can still do it," she said. "I hate that he can say one sentence and suddenly I'm standing here feeling like I'm 20 years old and stupid." I stepped farther into the room. "He said it because he could tell it would work. That doesn't make it less true." "It isn't true." She looked at me. "Caleb." "What?" "You are 24. "I know. My daughter is 23. "I know that too. And I am standing in my kitchen upset because my ex-husband made fun of me for spending time with you." She wiped under one eye quickly, like she did not want me seeing it. "So please don't act like this is simple." "I'm not." "Then why are you still here?" That stopped me. She was not asking about that moment. We both knew it. Her voice got quieter. "Why do you keep coming over, Caleb?" "The dryer is fixed. The gate is fixed. The cabinet is fixed. Half the time nothing important is even broken anymore." I looked at the counter between us. The same counter where I had eaten her leftovers, where she had asked me how I was doing and waited like she actually wanted the answer. "I keep coming because I want to," I said. She stared at me. I made myself keep going before I backed out. "At first, you needed help. Then I started looking forward to it. Being here. Talking to you. Eating real food at a counter instead of sitting alone with a paper plate." I swallowed. "In my work, people are glad to see me because something quit working. That's fine. That's the job. But here, after a while, it felt different." Monica did not move. "It felt like you wanted me here," I said. "Not just what I could fix." Her face changed in a way that made my chest feel tight. "I did," she said. The words were barely above a whisper. For a minute, neither of us spoke. Outside, a car passed slow on the street, tires hissing over cold pavement. Monica looked toward the window like she remembered neighbors existed. "That's what scares me," she said. "Because I know how it looks." "I do too. People will talk. Maybe. Tessa will have questions." "She should." Monica shook her head. "You keep saying the right thing." "I'm not trying to." "That's worse." I almost smiled, but she looked too serious. She came around the counter slowly, then stopped a few feet from me. Close enough that I could see how tired she was. Close enough that I could see she had been carrying this longer than just today. I waited for you to say something, she said. And I hoped you wouldn't. Because if you said it, then I couldn't pretend I didn't know. I nodded. I didn't want to make your life harder. You already did. That hit me. Then she reached out and touched the front of my jacket, just with 2 fingers, like she was checking if I was really there. But not in the way he meant, she said. I did not move first. I made sure of that. I let her decide the last inch. When she kissed me, it was quiet. No rush. No big movie moment. Just her hand gripping my jacket a little tighter and my hand finding her waist like I had been trying not to imagine it for weeks. Then she pulled back and rested her forehead against my chest for 1 second. Now what? She asked. I don't know. At least you're honest. I can try to be smarter tomorrow. She let out a small breath, almost a laugh, and stepped away. But the room was different now. We were different. The thing we had been walking around had a name, even if neither of us said it out loud yet. After that, everything got careful. I still came by, but not as much. She still texted, but with fewer little excuses. When I saw her outside, there was a pause before we waved, like both of us were checking who might be watching. If a neighbor drove past, she put a little more space between us. I understood, but I hated that I understood. The next weekend Tessa came home. I was in my driveway when she pulled in. She looked at my truck, then at her mother's house, then back at me. She did not wave right away. That night, Monica did not text me at all. The next morning, I saw them through Monica's front window while I was taking my trash out. I could not hear anything, but I knew a hard conversation when I saw one. Tessa stood near the sink with her arms folded. Monica sat at the table with one hand around a coffee mug. Later, Monica called me. Her voice sounded flat. Can you come by for a minute? I did, but I stayed on the porch until she opened the door. She had my spare key in her hand. The one she had given me after the gate latch got bad, so I could fix it while she was at work. I think I need this back, she said. I looked at the key, then at her. Okay. It's not because you did anything wrong. I know. I just need space to think. Tessa is scared I'm going to get hurt. And the awful part is, I can't promise her she's wrong. I took the key off my ring and placed it in her palm. Take the time. Her eyes searched my face. You're not mad? I'm not happy. That made her mouth tremble a little. But I'm not mad, I said. I wanted to touch her. I didn't. Instead, I looked down at the porch step, the one that had been soft at the corner for months. This board's loose. Caleb. I'm not coming in. I'll fix it from outside. She almost argued, then didn't. So I fixed her porch step that afternoon in the cold, with Tessa watching once from the front window and Monica staying inside. When I finished, I knocked once, left the old board stacked by the rail, and walked back across the street. For 3 days, I gave her space. Not the kind where you disappear to prove a point. Just real space. I did not text. I did not make up reasons to pass her house. I saw her car leave in the mornings and come back after work. I saw Tessa's gray car still in the driveway. Then, on the 4th evening, the weather turned. The wind picked up first, pushing dead leaves across the cul-de-sac. By dark, freezing rain tapped against the windows. My lights flickered twice while I was eating soup from a can. At 8:17, the whole block went black. I stood in my kitchen with a flashlight in my hand, listening to the sudden quiet. Across the street, Monica's porch light was out. So was every other light on the road. Then my phone buzzed. For a second, I just looked at her name on the screen. The power is out here too. Fireplace won't start. Tessa is here. House is getting cold. I'm sorry to ask. I picked up my tool bag before I even typed back. I'm coming. By the time I crossed the street, the rain had turned into little hard pieces of ice. They clicked against my jacket and bounced off the top of my tool bag. The whole cul-de-sac was dark except for a few phone lights moving behind windows. No porch lights. No garage lights. Just the gray shine of ice on driveways and the sound of tree branches knocking together in the wind. Monica opened the door before I reached the porch. She had a blanket around her shoulders and her phone in her hand. Behind her, I could see Tessa standing in the living room with a flashlight pointed at the floor. I'm sorry, Monica said right away. Stop saying that. I didn't know who else. I know. I stepped inside and wiped my boots on the mat. Where's the fireplace? In here. The house felt colder than I expected. Not outside cold, but dropping fast. That old kind of cold that gets into corners first. Monica led me into the living room, where the gas fireplace sat under a white mantel with framed pictures on it. I had seen it before, but never paid much attention. It looked like one of those units people trusted for years until the first night they really needed it. Tessa watched me come in. Roads are bad, she said. Yeah. You didn't have to come. I set my tool bag down beside the hearth. Your mom asked. That seemed to land with her. She looked over at Monica, then back at me, but she did not say anything else. I kept my focus on the fireplace. That was the safest place to put it. I took off the front panel, got my flashlight angled right, and checked the pilot assembly. Monica stood a few steps behind me, quiet. Tessa stayed near the couch with her arms folded, wrapped in a hoodie. Has it worked this season? I asked. Once, Monica said. Back in November. I turned it on just to check. And after that? I forgot about it. That happens. The pilot would not catch at first. I could smell a faint trace of gas, so I stopped, waited, and checked the line. The igniter clicked, but it was weak. There was dust around the assembly and the thermocouple looked dirty. Nothing dramatic. Just neglect. The same kind of small thing that becomes big when the weather turns. I cleaned what I could, adjusted the thermocouple, then tried again. Click. Nothing. Tessa shifted behind me. Should we be worried? Not yet. That's not the most comforting answer. It's the honest one. Monica made a small sound that might have been a laugh if things had been normal. I tried again. This time the pilot caught, a small blue flame shaking at first, then holding steady. I waited before turning the fireplace on all the way. No rush. No showing off. Just making sure it would stay lit. A minute later, the flames spread behind the glass. The room changed immediately. Not warm yet, but less helpless. Monica let out a breath like she had been holding it since the lights went out. Thank you, she said. I nodded and reached into my bag. Where's your carbon monoxide detector? Tessa blinked. Your first thought after fixing it is the detector? My first thought before fixing it was the detector. I just didn't say it. It's in the hallway, Monica said. I checked it. The batteries were low, so I replaced them from the pack I kept in my bag. Then I told Monica to crack the interior doors and keep blankets close until the power came back. I gave Tessa the same instruction without making it sound like I was taking over. She listened more than I expected. When I came back to the living room, Monica was standing by the mantel, the firelight moving over her face. She looked tired, worried, and relieved all at once. I wanted to go to her. I wanted to put my hand on her shoulder and tell her it was all fine. But Tessa was there. And more than that, Monica had asked for space. A storm did not erase that. So I packed my tools. Monica looked at the bag, then at me. You're leaving. I got it running. You're good for now. Oh. That one word told me more than she meant it to. Tessa looked between us. I zipped the bag slowly. You've got my number if it cuts out again. Monica nodded, but she looked like she hated every inch of the space between us. I started toward the door. Caleb, Tessa said. I stopped. She stood near the edge of the living room, flashlight hanging at her side now. Her face was hard to read, but not unfriendly. You don't have to run out like you did something wrong. The room went quiet except for the fireplace. Monica looked at her daughter. Tessa. No, I mean it. Tessa swallowed and looked at me. I've been trying to figure out what this is. And I still don't really get it. Fair, I said. But you came over in this weather, fixed the heat, checked the safety stuff, and then you were just going to leave. She glanced at her mom. You're not acting like somebody trying to take advantage of anything. I did not know what to say to that, so I said nothing. Monica stepped away from the mantel. Her blanket slipped off one shoulder, and she pulled it back up with one hand. I care about him, she said. Tessa's eyes moved to her. Monica took a breath. I know it may seem strange. I know what people could say. I know you're worried because of the age difference, and because of your dad, and because you think I'm lonely enough to mistake attention for something real. Tessa looked down. But this isn't careless, Monica said. I was scared too. I still am. But Caleb has never pushed me. He never made me feel foolish for needing help. And somewhere in all these ordinary little evenings, I started wanting him here even when nothing was broken. Hearing her say it out loud in front of Tessa did something to me. It made the whole thing feel less like a secret I was borrowing and more like a choice she was making. Tessa looked at me. And you? I care about your mom, I said. My voice sounded rougher than I wanted. I know I'm young. I know that matters. I know you don't owe me trust just because I fixed a few things around the house. It's more than a few, Monica said quietly. I almost smiled, but kept my eyes on Tessa. I don't want to hide behind broken appliances forever. But I also don't want to force my way into something that makes your life harder or makes her feel judged in her own home. Tessa held my gaze for a long second. Then she nodded once. I just don't want her hurt. I don't either. That was all I had. No big promise. No perfect answer. Just the truth. The lights came back on around 40 minutes later. They flickered once, then filled the house with warm yellow light. The fridge hummed in the kitchen. Somewhere down the block, somebody shouted like their team had scored. Tessa went to check her phone charger, giving us a little space without announcing it. Monica walked me to the porch. The ice had slowed, but the street still shined under the returning porch lights. My truck sat across the way, dark and familiar. For a second, we stood side by side without touching. I'm done inventing reasons to call you, she said. I looked over at her. Good. She raised an eyebrow. Good. You don't need reasons anymore. Her face softened. She glanced back through the open doorway. Tessa was inside, visible near the hall, pretending not to watch and doing a bad job of it. Monica saw her too. Then she reached down and took my hand. Not hidden behind the door. Not quickly. Not like an accident. Her fingers were cold, and I closed mine around them. Tessa looked away, but I saw the small smile she tried to bury. A week later, I walked across the street again on Sunday evening. No tool bag. No flashlight. No replacement parts in my jacket pocket. Just me, wearing a clean shirt and carrying nothing but a store-bought pie because Monica told me not to bring anything and I ignored her. Before I could knock, the door opened. Monica stood there in jeans and a soft blue sweater, smiling like she had been listening for my steps. No repairs tonight, she asked. I held up the pie. No, I said. Just me.